Now, one of the most exciting reveals at Tenno this year was of course the plains of Eidolon. Without a doubt it was huge news, and with it comes the Ostron civilization, which is adding new lore into Warframe, and also a new town hub called Cetus, which I believe functions a lot like a relay and has a 50 player limitation per instance. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about Cetus and of course the plains of Eidolon more when I make my video covering it tomorrow. Now, in Cetus there is a weapons crafting vendor or a trader called Anvil, where we are going to be able to craft our own custom Ostron weapons. You're going to be able to choose your blade type, your handle type, and of course the base of the weapon as well. Now, the base portion, I believe Steve said, determines the weapon's effects or something like that, so it might not be tied to the actual damage or the choice of weapon that you make. So depending on which parts you put together, it will determine what weapon type you want to build. So interchanging the head of the weapon can turn it from a machete into a dagger or a sword. Then if you go ahead and you change the handle, it can become a staff or a polearm or a two-handed sword. There is a lot of possibilities with this system, and it's going to be really enjoyable to jump in and craft our own weapons. But if they choose to eventually allow us to have this very same process of crafting primary and secondary weapons, which they might not, chances are they won't, our weapon choices are going to be huge if they do. But when this update drops, we can go ahead and jump in and start farming resources for these crafted melee weapons on the plains of Eidolon. So the resources will have to be scavenged on the plains in order for you to build some of these weapons. Maybe you need fish or something like that, who knows? Oh, and the other really cool thing about this system is you're going to be able to name your own weapon. That's right, you can run with a fidget spinner, but please don't. Or you can crush heads with your dangleberry, or slice off limbs with your Tenno butter knife. Now, I'm sure there'll be some kind of limitations on the names that you can use on these weapons. I doubt they're going to allow us to name weapons like the Ass Blaster or the Fuck You Grenade weapon and so on. Swear words will probably be filtered out. But in all honesty, being able to build your very own melee weapon once you've got all of those requirements or the resources, and then to be able to give it a name that maybe gives you a giggle every time you use it, or maybe means something to you. Imagine being able to wield the Sword of 1,000 Truths, but let's be honest, you can't trust the Sword of 1,000 Truths to a noob, so not anyone's going to be able to get it. What are you going to call your first weapon? When you craft that melee weapon, what's the first thing that springs to mind? If you're going to be able to have some fun with it or not? Is it going to be a name that means something to you or not? Also, I wonder what will happen with regards to rivens for these Ostron type weapons. Will there be Ostron specific melee rivens for Anvil weapons, like an Ostron polearm riven, or an Ostron dagger riven, or an Ostron machete riven, and so on and so on. I'm curious to see how they play that one out, whether they're going to have rivens for them or not, or maybe rivens will be completely pointless once this update drops. Like I said earlier, I do plan on doing my Plains of Eidolon video tomorrow, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in it about the actual plains. But go ahead and let me know in the comment section below this video what you think of being able to craft your very own melee weapon in Warframe once this update drops. Hopefully the resource requirements to build these weapons won't be too high and won't be kind of crazy and impossible to get, but let's be honest, it is Warframe and grinding is what we do. I honestly won't mind if the weapons are worth the actual grind, but we won't know until they actually drop into the game. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, or don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Warframe, and as always, thanks very much for watching.